The People's Village project has really progressed over the last year. It started off as an idea, and month by month, it's become more of a reality.
Before COVID, we had conversations with city leadership around building permanent supportive housing and what that would look like and what a partnership would look like. And then COVID hit. And so what we did was we put all of those plans on hold. And then earlier this year, we started having the conversations again, but this time, the conversation was a little bit different. I think homelessness was much more visible in Petaluma. I think there was a lot more complaints. There were more homeless on the streets. And so we knew we needed to do something differently and faster.
And so we started thinking, wow, what could we do? Could we bring in, some kind of housing, smaller housing units, and could we put it on the property behind there, and could we create a village for those who we could not serve, those that don't want to come into a dorm setting because they don't want to sleep next to other people.
We were gobsmacked and thrilled when Peggy Flynn stated that she wanted this project to happen this winter.
When I first met Peggy, I sat in a meeting with Chuck and some of our other leadership, and the police department was there, and I was just amazed that the answer to the questions from her were always, well, why can't we do that? That is a great idea. Why can't we do that? She just had that kind of mentality. Nothing was too hard or too impossible. The sky was the limit, and that kind of energy was very inspiring.
The timing for these emergency shelter units this winter is really critical because as the weather becomes cooler and rainier, we see an increased need in the homeless population. So people who aren't always willing to come into shelter during the nice weather are more apt to come in when it gets cold and rainy.
My name's Diana Ortega.
You're a client. My name's Roger Stevenson. I'm a COTS client. Been here for about 3 years now, and it's a great program. Yeah, well, we were pretty much together at the time. It was a combination of just things that happened, abuse at some times, and then we just became homeless, and there we were. So
25 years we were homeless.
Yeah. We both had alcohol problems, and we got cirrhosis liver, got sick, all kinds of other stuff happened with that, and we ended up in the hospital. And I mean, you can't say being lucky being in the hospital, but St. Joseph's picked us up, and we went to Sam Jones for about 3 months, and we were lucky enough to be contacted by Rini Gonzalez, and we were picked up out of there and brought here.
I've worked at Petaluma Valley Hospital for over 20 years, and so initially as an emergency room nurse, I was always involved with the homeless population. They do seek emergency care often. And so early on in my career, I wanted to know what resources were available in the community and learned about COTS and its mission, and was here actually when the Mary Isaac Center was built. And people from far and wide were coming because it was such a well-designed building and the program was so great, and we were so excited to have that in our own community as a place to send patients after hospitalization or after an emergency room visit. So the health issues associated with homelessness are a lot, right? There's underlying chronic conditions that aren't being addressed on a daily basis. High blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, those kind of things. There's also patients that come in for wounds on their feet because they're walking all day. If they're living in an encampment, in a shared space, in the shelter with multiple beds in one area, there's always a risk for infectious disease. Right now, everybody's focused on COVID, but there are other infectious diseases such as the flu, the common cold, tuberculosis, other kind of things that might just be infectious diseases that, given being in a camp or being in a dormitory situation, could really have long-term effects and an outbreak that would really be terrible for the community.
The great part about this place, though, too, is like having Nurse Annie here, And you know, that's really cool, and we get lifts back and forth to our doctor's appointments, so that's a huge thing. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, getting there and back. And when we were in Santa Rosa on the streets, I mean, it was impossible usually to get to any kind of appointments and stuff, so that's a great thing.
The biggest health concerns in the homeless population in Petaluma are really dealing with the inclement weather. Sometimes it's really terrible when it's raining outside or cold outside. I think annually we see someone that might pass away from being outside in the cold.
We had one night I'll never forget that was just so bad. It was just pouring, and we went to this one spot, and right when we laid down, I heard the car, and I knew it was a cop, you know. So she got out of her car and she made us leave. Now, it's pouring, I mean pouring, and we got our stuff in bags. So we walked, and we land back to say we go to St. Rose Church. We're thinking, okay, we'll get a few hours sleep here, then go to the drop-in. Well, as soon as we lay down there, here comes the security. You guys got to get up and leave. So here we go, walking down the street again, and then we ended up at the drop-in, and it was an hour early, so we're just sitting out there in the rain, you know, and that was about the worst night that I can remember.
The advantages of being inside in the winter for people that are out there struggling is basically they don't really have to deal with the cold or the wetness, and they got a warm place to be, so that hopefully they can enjoy their lives, because that's what it's all about. It's about them being able to enjoy the life that they have and them feel that they have ownership of their lives.
When patients who are homeless may visit the emergency room, it's really hard on the staff. They want to make sure that they're extra careful about making sure the follow-up plans are really crystal clear. Sometimes they're coming in just for shelter. Sometimes they're coming in for a significant medical condition. We have to look at the whole person and make sure we're evaluating everything. When we evaluate everything and there's no more care to be provided at the hospital level, then it becomes, where do we send them afterwards? And sometimes that's really hard in the middle of the night, or with inclement weather like rain or being cold or being too hot. And so we oftentimes have to figure out a plan on where they're going next to make sure their health is maintained after they leave the hospital and don't have to turn around and come right back.
You know, another thing with us being alcoholics and on the streets like that, this is, you know, I mean, you can't get sober on the streets, because it's not like you can go lay in a corner somewhere and sleep it off and sweat it out and shake and all that. You know, you can't do that, you know. And with people an opportunity to actually be able to, you know, sleep and to get some food in them, you know, at the same time, you know, nutrients is here for you, you know, get meals in them and start feeling better. You know.
Well, right now we provide 100 meals per day for the clients outside, and the average is 700 a week. Well, I like to provide healthy, nutritious meals. I see my food as a form of meditation. I try to make the plating as pretty as possible, so you could sit down and you look at what you're receiving, and you're able to just kind of fantasize about what you're eating. You're taking your mind off all your problems, and you're just focusing on this good hot meal that you're receiving.
I think that because I wear two hats, I also focus on the Petaluma Sober Circle, and along with homelessness that's out in the community in encampment. And so a lot of those people, I get into treatment and everything, and some of our people are already striving to do something different.
I told Diane, I said, see that guy walking out of the store with a sandwich, a bag of chips, and a soda? I said, I want to be like that. I don't want to be walking out of the store with a half a gallon of vodka and 6 beers, going to the park to drink all day and pass out, you know. And so I prayed. I mean, I've prayed religiously forever, and it's like that was in my prayer, you know, to stop drinking, and he gave me that opportunity, you know.
So what I see as the benefit to this interim housing solution project really is about dignity. It's dignity of the homeless person that might not want to share their personal belongings. They have the dignity of having a lock on a door and closing a door and calling it their own. Also, as a nurse, I really want to look at the infectious disease process and the overall health of someone that might be living in a shelter or living on the streets. So the advantage to having a place to call their own that might be cordoned off or secluded is that they're not sharing a lot of things, including infectious disease.
So when the small homes open up, I think that will be spectacular. It'll give people a little opportunity to have a roof over their head and maybe get a little stability. And with being here, if they're ill, sick of any sorts, it's a great place to be. Like I said, you can get back and forth to the clinic. There's no excuses. You can call and get a ride. So, I think that'll be spectacular.
When you think about the Housing First model, it really is about getting somebody in a home as quickly as possible without any barriers, and then providing intense case management wraparound services. Living in Sonoma County, there's a scarcity of housing units. And so once you get somebody in a unit, you want to make sure that you do everything possible to keep them in there.
So we have a host of opportunities for residents of People's Village. We have case management, and COTS case management is spectacular. To a person, our case managers are compassionate, they're wise, experienced, and they know how to resource.
You're getting people straight off of the streets into a home. They often don't know what all the responsibilities are in living in a place. And so really helping them get used to living in a home. You got to have a budget. You have to plan for your meals. You have to pay your bills on time. You have to make sure that you're living within the guidelines and rules of an apartment living. And so part of case management is teaching them all of those things. A lot of them probably have some challenges with mental health or medical issues. And so providing those types of services for them. Legal issues, for example, they may have problems with that. Making sure you find a job and keep a job. And so case management will encompass all of that.
I think most of them need basically help with their mental health and their addiction and a lot of their medical issues. It's just that a lot of them don't know how to ask for that.
So when new clients come in, we do an assessment, and that assessment includes needs and strengths. We've really moved from having just a needs-based assessment process to including strengths, because the individual strengths are what is going to move them forward into a home.
And it's all about how we approach them mainly. Ask them what do they feel that they need. Give them the ownership and allow them to tell you, not just assume, that you went and read 10 books and say, this is how we're supposed to be doing it. No, you got to assess each individual as an individual.
We did a survey back in December, and it was kind of amazing. Not only did they say they would come into a house, we did say, what if it was on property? And they said they would still come into a house if it was on our campus. And if it was their own house to stay in, they would be open to case management. I think a third of the folks said that they would be open to case management. So we're going to take advantage. We're going to offer them all of the things that we offer right now in our shelter, but we'll be more laser focused with this group because I think they're loud and clear. They want to get into a home of their own forever. And we need to understand what that looks like for the next steps.
One of the things I've learned is that sometimes people aren't going to behave the way that we expect them to behave. So what we have to be able to do is learn to become thick-skinned so that we don't personalize things. It allows us to be able to provide them the kind of assistance that we need to. Unless someone, threatens someone or hurts someone, then I feel we should continue to engage them. And even if they have threatened someone and everything, after a certain period of time, we should still continue to work with them.
They're loud and clear. They struggle being with more than one person. They struggle with noise. And our dorm has never been cleaner, it's never been more organized, it's never been more safe, but still, this population that is not getting served is so sensitive to all of those things. Having them in an interim house with services is going to make a huge impact. It's going to make a huge impact, and we're going to get them on the road to, recovery and housing of their own.
The tiny homes are being ordered from Quick Haven, which is an outfit in Roanoke Park, so we're keeping it local. And Quick Haven is also employing some of our residents in their crew, so that's very exciting for us.
So I worked in San Francisco and commuted from Oakland for 20 years. And that became a journey through suffering, seeing homeless encampments and people sleeping in the Embarcadero station. And it's just very frustrating as a community member to think, what can we do and why isn't anybody doing it? I'm a hobbyist, construction guy myself. I've done a lot of renovation in my own house, and I used to work on a maintenance crew when I was in college. So I know quite a bit about construction and various trades. And I started thinking about, well, if it's a housing shortage and we can't quickly make permanent housing, then maybe there could be some kind of quick setup shelter.
My role here at Quick Haven is the manufacturing engineering manager. So I'm responsible for building these shelters safely, at the highest quality, and the most efficient way possible.
The unit embeds an awful lot of knowledge that I acquired through talking to people involved in housing homeless, including Jeff Kaczynski from San Francisco, who was the homeless czar for quite a few years. I talked to fire department people, the chief of the fire department in San Francisco. I talked to him, and then I've even talked to homeless people. I've sat on the sidewalk and talked to homeless people, and so all of that fed into the initial design. Then Tim coming on board added his architectural experience to the project as well. So then we started taking all the design elements, having it be very fire safe, having it be aesthetically pleasing, having it be insulated, having it be modular so it could be quickly put together and quickly taken apart.
I think the most surprising thing to me about these structures is the end goal is to make them as simply as possible to put together and as quickly as possible. So with 3 people, you should be able to put this up in under an hour. But to be able to achieve that, there's a lot of complexity in the manufacturing process.
Because the Quick Haven shelter is made of metal on the outside and the inside, it's a pre-coated, oven-baked coating. And you could just wash it off with a power washer, and whatever dirt's on there comes right off. So it's non-porous, and so that makes it good for cleaning and really great for sanitizing.
The other portion of it is that the materials are eco-friendly, made with up to 80% recycled materials. Things like that resonate for me, and that's part of the reason why I pursued Quick Haven to try to work with them, because I wanted to work with companies that have a social impact as well as environmental impact that's positive.
I've slept in tough sheds before and stuff like that, and they become uninhabitable if it's too hot or it's too cold. It's like these units, we set up the prototype. It was about 102 degrees out, and it was still nice, and it was like 70 degrees inside of it. It really works.
While we embarked on building out a company to produce these shelters, we felt it was very important not to just serve a population of homeless people, but to employ them and make it a virtuous cycle, so that we're not just providing them shelter, but we're also providing them opportunities to regain an independent living. And so we made a point of hiring from that same population of people.
It was my friend. It was Sam, the first employer here. I've known him for 16 years, and he was the one he said I was first on the list to come here and stuff. And it was, and this really started turning things around. Got off unemployment and stuff, and got onto It's like I started making, it's good money in comparison.
Yeah, as far as the living wage, I think Dan, our founder, is very passionate. And these types of jobs in manufacturing are very skilled jobs, attention to detail, the mastering of the tools and the power equipment you need to be able to produce something like this. Deserves a higher wage, and typically manufacturing jobs are a higher wage, so it's nice to see that brought back into our own Sonoma County here. But it also benefits the employees by providing them a higher wage and allowing them to get a boost up and be able to get their feet back underneath them and go on to pull themselves out of homelessness, and be able to afford housing here in Sonoma County that we all know is very expensive.
The cost of living around here in this area, it's like in Sonoma County, it's like if you want to live in a like a garage space or something like that, you got to make $24 an hour. It hurts everybody, but then if you don't, it's like if you're disadvantaged, then it's just it just piles on.
I think what surprised me of talking with our employees that have had experience with homelessness is just the day-to-day challenges around safety, around living on the streets, homelessness, around getting something to eat, about securing your belongings when you are out, trying to find a job or trying to find something to eat. It's just the day-to-day things that we take for granted, and that feel very fortunate to have a roof over your head, something to eat, and if all that was taken away, that's something that is really surprising of how you're just worried about surviving every day and trying to stay safe.
I've known Sam for 16 years. Went to middle school with him. It was like when I last met him again, he'd been homeless. He just quit Taco Bell because they had found out he was homeless, and they were cutting back his hours, and that was a rough time for him. We were staying down in the creek. It was like in Sonoma, and that was we knew people out there who, like some of our friends, like Rick and Carlos, they didn't make it. They died of exposure and stuff, and that's the harsh reality of the situation, and part of the reason why that we want this project with Quick Haven to succeed so bad is because we know that there is no alternative right now. It's this or face the elements on your own.
I went into this with just from over the years, some preconceived notions about folks that are unhoused. I've tried to do things on my own to help, whether it was individually helping them with food or with some money or whatever, or donating to certain causes. Nothing at scale. So I wanted to do something more. But the fact that Quick Haven hires from the population that they serve is a big deal to me. And having interacted with a couple of those hires, these preconceived notions that I had have been dispelled. And what I mean by that is the employees that they've hired from homeless population, my experience with them has been very positive. They're hard workers, which is not something that I had anticipated, creative. And really, at the end of the day, my impression is that they're not much different than me or than most people. There were circumstances that led to them hitting rock bottom. And it's not, they may not have had like the support network that I have, for example, or they didn't grow up in a similar environment as I did. And so, and you could imagine in a place like Sonoma County, where cost of living is very high, being able to get back up from that place is extremely difficult. So yes, if we want to try to solve this, they're going to need some help.
I guess the biggest and most personal growth I've had doing this is the process of working with homeless people and hiring and employing them.
It means a lot. It's like I said, it's even more than that material support of them helping. It's the moral support of the morale boost of knowing that people aren't giving up on me, and that I have something to live for, something to fight for.
Every single person we serve is human, has a history, has been someone's child, maybe someone's parent. There's a whole world that goes on behind the scenes. We meet people at a point in time in their lives, and that's all it is. It's not who they are. This is where they're at. So really trying to see people experiencing homelessness as having an experience, but it's not who they are. They may have been successful a year ago. They may have been successful 20 years ago by the measures of our culture. They're having an experience, and can we hold them that way? Can we hold them and serve them through this experience and hopefully get them moved on to their next better experience?
I just want to give praise again. I want to say this specifically, that this program did save our lives. You know, St. Joseph's, I mean, and with COTS, we're living on COTS property. So, it's just, I can't say anymore. I mean, it's just, we're so blessed, and this program is a miracle for people that want it.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be the game changer, and I truly believe it just takes one person. It just takes one person in that posse. You know, they create their families out in the encampments. Imagine one person saying, okay, I'm going to try it, and then going back and talking to their posse, and hey, you got to come try this. I foresee it filling up, and I foresee it filling up because this is what they've asked for, and we're following through. So our partnership with our city leadership, with our police department, with the health center, everything is falling into place. These partnerships that we've garnered and held for all these years, this is like it's like the dream come true. This is the next phase of how we can greatly reduce the unsheltered in South County.
If not here, where? If not now, when? And then if not you, who? I don't remember whose quote that is, but like it's very apropos to this situation.
Hi, I'm Jamison Bunn, Chief Development Officer for COTS. I've been with COTS for 3 years, and the passion and dedication that our staff show every day in working with our clients toward permanent housing make me so proud to be a part of the COTS team. I'm speaking to you today to ask you to join me in investing in COTS and our work to end homelessness in Sonoma County. We all know that homelessness remains a crisis across the Bay Area, and we know that business as usual is not solving the problem. COTS is building on 33 years of experience to find new approaches to housing. As economic uncertainty grows, more and more individuals and families are struggling financially, even those who may never have imagined themselves in this situation. For this reason, it is essential that everyone in our community who has weathered the storms of the last few years give back to help those who are struggling find more stable footing. Your donation helps individuals and families living in temporary shelter working towards a more stable life. It supports veterans and those living in encampments who might have PTSD or other physical and mental health challenges that make permanent housing difficult. It also provides a safety net for those who might be struggling financially for the first time, as so many industries in our community have been hit by COVID, fires, and more. By using our resources to invest in the most vulnerable in our community, we make sure that Sonoma County is a place where families can thrive for the long term. So join me in investing generously today. For the second year in a row, we're asking you to give online today at cotshour.org. That's COTSHOUR.org. Whether you're watching on Facebook or on COTS website, you can click the donation link in the video description and go straight to the donation page. Your support is more important than ever, and we are so grateful to have you as part of our COTS family. Thank you for making the most generous gift that you can today. Thank you for helping us build a world where everyone has a place to call home.